Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take another look here at Bitcoin. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a fantastic Father's Day. If you're a father, even if you're not, I hope you spent time with your loved ones. We're going to take a look, of course, at Bitcoin as per usual. What we're going to do, of course, is kind of see a little bit more, take a look at the volume, help understand the overall sense of things, and just truly kind of get perspective on where this is going to go next, because it does look like it wants to continue to progress higher. But we have some key level resistances we need to be aware of and things that we want to make sure to take note of. So we'll take a look at that and much more. If you're new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor. I just love teaching people to trade. So I really hope you can learn something here today. If you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a website, link in the description below. Be happy to help you out and get you on the right track. Been able to help a lot of people so far. Thank you so much for the valued feedback. I greatly appreciate it. Happy to hear that it's making a difference for you. I do have a Signal Group, Trading Academy, and basically a trading community where we all learn and grow together. We have roundtable discussions frequently, and it's really awesome to kind of get to know my community. So thanks again for the continued support. Taking a look here at Bitcoin. Something to kind of note. Obviously, big picture here, we wicked down pretty hard. Okay, so 17,600 was a very low point in which the price progressed over the weekend on Saturday. It did look like it wanted to continue lower, but there was a lot of buying pressure right in the range of 18 to 19,000, driving the price action up. But now we're up over 20,000, which is nice. That was a key level of support we need to make sure to be above. But once again, the day hasn't closed yet. The candlestick hasn't closed. And furthermore, we got this Fibonacci retracement level right around 20,800, which is posing to be a potential problem. You can see that there's been basically 3 days previous that it hasn't been able to break above that level. Okay, so good clean close above, just say 21,000 as a round number would be excellent for us here today. We're kind of looking for something along those lines to give us that full-on confirmation to potentially go long. Now, I want to warn you, dead cats are on the horizon. I know it sounds terrible if you're not familiar with the term, basically just implying that if the price were to come back up, it'll likely just shoot right back down again because we're still making lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so again, see these lower lows here and these lower highs? Those are essentially things that we need to acknowledge and recognize. So we're not out of the woods yet. Okay, that's the bottom line. Although it is nice to have somewhat of a recovery, and I hope that you got in somewhere in the 17 to 18,000 range this weekend. I hope that was the case. I've been dollar cost averaging a lot lately, just to give you perspective. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the standard stuff. Of course, the monthly, we know this kind of already, but it does look like the price is wanting to recover and close perhaps above the 21,000, roughly 200 mark at this point. So I would say, again, a clean close today above 21,000, preferably a monthly close above 22 would be appropriate to keep us on track to stay above that moving average. Okay. Now this very well could be the bottom. We might actually see 14,000 or 12,000, somewhere in that range as well, because those are some key level supports. But between now and then, there's still a lot of things that need to happen. Okay, but for now, what I'm trying to get at is that we don't have confirmation that a long position would be viable at this point, based on the simple fact that we're probably going to hit some resistance levels here soon. So let's go ahead and just touch on the weekly really quick here. We are well below the 200-day SMA, which is disadvantageous. We want to get a close above 22,500. Coincidentally, 22,500 is a resistance level that I'm seeing as a consistency recently where the price action is having difficulty crossing. So 22,500 would be a good kind of starting point, if you will, that kind of helps us understand that we're on the right track. Another thing, of course, is to break this descending trend. You can see this here, of course, it's been multiple weeks. We had 9 red weeks followed by a green candle and 2 more red weeks. So, I mean, we are looking at like 13, 14 weeks of just straight continued down price. Now, that's inevitably going to reverse. It's just an inevitability. But until we get there, we got to recognize that this descending trend line is still holding true. And until we can break back above it somehow, we're not out of the woods yet. That's the important thing to recognize. And again, the weekly here is really just telling us that we are overextended. We're under 30 on the RSI, which is extremely important to recognize. Until we can get back up over 30, we don't really have much of a leg to stand on. Okay, and if you look at Bitcoin's history here as well, let's take a look at this other chart. You can see that there's only been very few occasions back in 2015 and once in 2018 where the price action's been below 30 on the RSI on the weekly. So that kind of puts us in this severe mode right now where the price action is just trending downwards. We can see here once again we are in overtime for the weekly progression to the downside. So it is potentially inevitable, more inevitable than not, for the price action to recover. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to bounce up and get back to the 30,000 range anytime soon, but it does tell us that we're probably going to see some price range, perhaps between the current levels and maybe upwards of just say 30,000. Again, that's just kind of a lofty general consensus here, but within the next 2 or 3 weeks, if we at least see the price go sideways, then we'll get that reset on TD sequential, kind of give us that perspective that we're once again back on track. But for now, absolutely not the case. So taking a look at the moving averages here, we can go ahead and see, and actually it's probably a little easier to see with this chart here. We can see that we're underneath the 20-day, 50, and the 200, including the 100 that's not even on here. But generally speaking, we're below all moving averages. And those are all the key levels that we need to have act as support levels. And in this case, until we can get back up above, there's not much of a leg to stand on. Furthermore, too, we're also retesting 30 on the RSI, so a close above that today would be extremely important. In other words, we need a good sound close right at like the 22,000 range. That would really put us in a good position. Okay. Ultimately, also as well, taking a look at the MACD, it is slowing down, so the bearish divergence is starting to subside. So it does give us potential for an increase here to be able to converge, so to speak, on the MACD, where the 12 intersects with the 26 in upward fashion. Those are things that we're ultimately looking for. For right now, still a little premature. Again, dead cats are potential. And I know that term is terrible if you're a cat owner, but just saying it's a reality here, okay? So let's take a look here at the RSI, which once again, we see it's under 30, and the MACD is potentially converging. Let's look at that in the 4-hour, however, because I think it's more appropriate, because it really helps us understand with us being potentially over 50 right now, and I say potentially because there is this little Fibonacci retracement level about 20,800 that's proving to be somewhat of a resistance. We can close above that here in the next 4 to 8 hours. We'll be in good shape to be able to have this 50 to 70 range on the RSI and actually carry some momentum, right? Because if we look at this here, we haven't been up over 50 on the RSI in roughly 2 weeks. It's been almost 2 weeks since that happened, ever since we lost 30,000, the week of the 7th, okay? So at this point right now, I wouldn't say that's a great sign, but it's definitely a positive sign, right? It's absolutely something, consolation things are kind of adding to it. We also got a pretty significant MACD convergence here. So just note that this potential momentum could very well subside. I think the likelihood of a strong push to the upside right now is pretty low unless we get a short squeeze. But generally speaking, I would say that, we're in this position right now. We're kind of, it's testing the waters. It's testing a key level resistance, but we also are back up above a support of 20,000. Again, potentially. The day hasn't closed yet though, so you got to recognize that a lot of times this craziness happens, these volatile market movements happen at the end of the trading day. Okay, so closer to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you'll see some interesting behavior, and it could wick up or wick down. Right now, we're kind of just squeezed in between these two support levels, but we are up over the 20-day SMA on the 4-hour, which is good. But I feel much better being up above the 4-hour, 50-day SMA. In other words, that put us right around 21,500 as a close approximate. So I would like to see a close of 21,500 today or higher. That would give me some confirmation, letting us know that we want to maybe add to our current long position that we have open with Bitcoin. We've hit really close to our targets already. But also keep in mind too, that's another reason why I'm okay with leaving a short position open too with Ethereum for the moment, okay? Because we don't have confirmation it's going to continue higher until we can break this plane of just once again 22/23,000, and we're not going to be able to have a leg to stand on, okay? But for now, we got to celebrate the small stuff, and it's looking overall generally better than it has before. This weekend was kind of terrible. That's putting it lightly. So here's the thing. Here's some consolation here as well, good and bad. We're above the cloud, which is fantastic. That's a confirmation you typically like to look for to take a long position. We've confirmed we got a 4-hour MACD convergence. So those two boxes are checked, essentially telling us that, hey, we're kind of on the right side of the tracks here. However, the lagging span is soon intersect with the price action if the price doesn't go any higher. So if the price does subside and come back down, there's a great chance that you'd want to close your long position because that confirmation would be no longer validated and essentially telling us to potentially close our position. So we basically got 2 out of 3 indications right now saying to keep your long position open, not telling you to close it per se because we could very well see the price action increase. But generally speaking at this point, we kind of got this 50-50 situation where we got some really good indicators telling us a long position is viable. But we also got some indicators telling us and some resistance levels saying that we're potentially going to reject out at 20,800. I hope we don't. I'd love to see it wick up to 20,000, 21,400 so we can hit our profit targets for our Bitcoin trade we took recently. But generally speaking, at this point, it's best to be, I would say, patient and try to wait for confirmation. While we do have some confirmation, it's not the true confirmation. We want more of a macro confirmation and something telling us that we're specifically on the right side, and we don't truly have that just yet. Especially with this doji candle kind of forming right now, we're about 15 minutes away from this closing. That could signal a potential reversal. A lot of times you see, dojis kind of tell you when the price is going to turn and change directions. Okay, so again, so you see this here, doji candle close, price returns. Again, that in combination with some overextension, which we need to take a quick look at here, we can kind of see we're at an 8 on TD sequential here. So the likelihood of the price action reversing from here is greater because of that simple sentiment that we are, 8 4-hour candlesticks into this progression. Okay, and we see this here down here as well. Big surprise. We hit a 9 and a reset back up to an 8. Okay. Now, not to say this next downtrend will go lower, but as long as the next downtrend isn't lower than 18,000, we're going to be in good shape. So we need to stay above this key level support. Right. So if you're going to set, any kind of targets, for example, just say for a long position, and you're setting a stop loss just below the most recent low is an appropriate place to set it. So right around 18,000 would be a good place to set your stop loss if you're in a long position presently, because once again, if it drops below that, it could continue to go much lower. But the probability and likelihood of it coming down to that level again is a little less for the moment. So again, I know it's all conflicting information. A lot of times, it's very contradictory when you're looking at charts and saying this could happen, this could happen. Honestly, we really truly don't know. But the important thing to recognize is that if you're position sizing effectively and taking positions when you have confirmation, you're increasing your overall odds of success. So again, work within your risk tolerance. I cover this in my trading academy, but just make sure that you are emotionally sound and in a good state of mind when you're taking a trade. Those are things that people commonly overlook. But regardless of that fact, here on the 4-hour, we can kind of see that we're a bit on the overextended side to the upside, and the likelihood of a pullback is potential. Okay, so I'm not saying you want to short, but just know if you have a long position, it might be advantageous to consider taking some profits. Not a bad call. All right, so that's kind of where we're at here for the moment. I hope that you found benefit and this makes sense how I described it. And obviously, if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a website. Link in the description below. I forgot to mention this earlier. I do offer discounts for third world countries and military, so feel free to message me direct if you have any questions regarding that. My contact information is down below in the description. I will never direct message you first, so just keep that in mind. If you receive a message from CryptoCache, that's not me. I'll reply to you, of course, don't get it wrong. I love to communicate with my members, but I'm never going to solicit you. Okay, so just please note there's a lot of trolls out there, and unfortunately, they troll my channel just like they do every other cryptocurrency channel. So, all right, anyways, friendly advice. Hope you have a great day. Happy Monday to you. Be safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Thanks again.